This painting is called Pebble and Seaweed by Allin Braund, who was born in 1915 and died in 2004. The painting is held at the Burton Art Gallery and Museum in Bideford for the benefit of the local and wider community. It was painted in 1987 in acrylic paint on board. Allin Braund was a British artist who was born in Devon and educated at the Bideford Art School. How do we feel looking at this image? What sensations or emotions or ideas does it stimulate in you as you look at this beautifully painted scene of two pebbles by the seashore? Here we can see the water resting gently around the rocks, perhaps lapping as gentle waves, with the seaweed undulating below the waterline and poking above the water towards the top of the image. Perhaps we think of times that we've been ourselves to the seashore, the smell of the seaweed and the clear air. The rocks themselves are the ancient Devonian pebbles common on the North Devon coast. Mudstone with fine lines of quartz crystal crisscrossing through the rocks. This is a gentle picture, an easy image, with the flowing lines and the curve of the stone, the colours green and white and grey, and the bluish stones, the light appearing to fall across the undulating waves. The delicate form of the seaweed picked out as the sunlight falls onto it, scattered through the water. Perhaps we might imagine the sound of the sea, the rushing in and pulling away of the waves, the sound of the seaweed as it drags back and forth, held on the edge of the coastline, rippling through the tide. Allow your eye to move over this picture. What attracts your attention? The movement of the water, contrasted with the solid form of the rock. How would it feel to touch these rocks, to touch their smooth, cold shapes? How would it feel to put your hand into the water, to feel the coldness of the salt sea? How would it feel to put your hand further down into the seaweed, feeling its slidey, smooth, organic shapes? What lives in the water here? Perhaps there are crabs lurking deep underneath the seaweed, hiding in the crevices of the rock. Perhaps there are tiny fish darting around in these tidal pools. Further out into the sea, there may be bigger animals, dolphins, even whales. What time of year might this be? It's hard to tell from the image itself. We could be looking at a spring tide, or we could be looking at a cold winter. We might be seeing the bright sun on the water of the summertime. Out of sight, perhaps there are people playing on the beach, boats moving backwards and forwards. But in this image, our attention is drawn to a tiny detail of life. In and of itself, the unremarkable appearance of a large and a small stone. The artist invites us to appreciate the beauty in this moment. Allin Braund invites us to contemplate the different shapes which appear so abstract and yet are composed of elements so straightforward as water and stone and seaweed. We might allow our eye to move through the bright sections down the left-hand side that curve around the larger stone, perhaps a ripple or a line of moving water caught in the sunshine. And then there are those darker areas, the mysterious depths, which the water gently caresses and covers. Though an everyday image, it is also strangely surreal, like an alien landscape. Allow your eyes to widen, to take in the whole of the image. What else can you see? Is the shadow upon the water the shadow of our artist, the shadow of a person peering down at these rocks? Perhaps this is just a simulacra, something that looks like a human shadow, but is in fact just the gentle movement of the water, of sunlight, and of shade. We can feel the combination of elements, the flow of the water, the hard and unyielding but gently curved form of the stone, and the slippery, waving form of the seaweed beneath. Were we to visit the North Devon coast, this would be a scene we would see in many, many places. This combination of water and of stone and of seaweed. And our artist wants us to focus in on this. Not to look only at the people, not to look only at the great vast landscape, but to look at the tiny details of life and to appreciate the beauty and the sculptural complexity of everyday moments. To be able to appreciate this, to be able to enjoy this picture, is to be able to enjoy the everyday, to enjoy and to remember the importance of simple, beautiful things.